The earth quakes as China and Russia launch a bold assault on the global status quo. Discover their plan today.
President Vladimir Putin will make a two-day state visit to China this week on the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Meanwhile, Moscow is gearing up to welcome a special guest.
Russian President Putin has arrived.
Russia's President Putin has arrived in China for a state visit.
Many ask, why can't the world's two biggest economies just find common ground?
What if the global stage was set for a drama unlike any we've witnessed in decades? Can you picture a world where traditional powerhouses might have to step aside for new leaders? What happens when the giants of the East decide to redraw the lines of global influence? Welcome to today's episode, where we dive into the unexpected and startling strategies of China and Russia. These two nations are not just participating in global politics, they are aggressively sculpting a new international landscape. With bold moves that could potentially tilt the scales of power, they are challenging the status quo, creating a ripple effect that reaches every corner of the world. In this episode, we're unpacking how these maneuvers could change everything from international trade to military alliances. It's as if China and Russia have launched a game-changing play, aiming to shift the focus from west to east. Their strategies suggest a vision of the world that significantly alters the United States' long-standing dominance. We'll explore what led to this pivotal moment and what it means for global stability. So, strap in as we analyze the details behind these headline-grabbing moves. From economic partnerships to military collaborations, every action seems to be a calculated step towards a new world order. How will the U.S. and its allies respond? What can we expect in the coming years? Stay with us as we delve deep into the unfolding drama of international politics, where every move is more than just a policy. It's a statement. Just a couple of weeks back, something pretty big went down in Beijing. Picture this: Vladimir Putin and China's President Xi Jinping sitting across from each other, hashing out the future. Now, these aren't your average business meeting buddies. Last year, they already turned heads with a joint declaration that basically said their teamwork had no finish line, no boundaries. Fast forward to now, and they're at it again. But this time, they're stepping up their game even more. In their latest sit-down, they weren't just catching up. They were drawing the blueprint for what they're calling a new world order. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But here's the real scoop. They're setting the stage to reshape how global politics play out, directly throwing a challenge to the U.S.'s top spot on the world stage. It's like they're saying, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. And this isn't just talk. Their plans could shift who calls the shots in international affairs.
Как раз сейчас перемены, которые не было в течение 100 лет. Как вместе двигаем эти перемены. Перекиньте, пожалуйста, дорогой друг.
So, why should we keep our eyes peeled on this? Because meetings like these aren't just about fancy dinners and handshakes. They're about making decisions that could change the rules of the game for everyone. Not just the big countries, but also impacting how smaller nations navigate their way around these new dynamics.
The Biden administration has already accused the Chinese government of materially supporting Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
Imagine you're at a major league sports draft where teams are picking their strategies to outplay their rivals next season. That's kind of what's happening on the global stage, but with higher stakes. A few weeks ago, Putin and Xi didn't just meet for a photo op. They sat down with a serious agenda to redraw the lines of global power. Their goal? To clip the wings of heavy hitters like the US and NATO, who've been major players in directing how global politics unfolds. In their intense discussions, they zeroed in on the U.S.'s hand in various international scenes, like the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. They're not just throwing shade, they're pointing out what they see as overreach by the U.S. and its allies, suggesting that these actions contribute to global instability. It's like accusing the star player of hogging the ball and causing the team to lose sync. And it doesn't stop there. They're also tackling how the U.S. stands on other global conflicts, like the situation in Gaza, suggesting that America's take might be leading to its own isolation on the world stage. So, what does this all mean for us and the rest of the world? These talks between Putin and Xi could lead to shifts that affect everything from international trade to security alliances. It's not just about who has the most power. It's about how these powers influence everyday life around the globe, from economics to peacekeeping. Let's switch gears and talk about something we all deal with every day: money. In the grand chessboard of global politics, money isn't just about buying and selling. It's a weapon of its own. Recently, China made a jaw-dropping move that's like pulling a major card from a house of cards, hoping to watch a rival's tower wobble. They've started pulling out big chunks of their investments in U.S. debt. Over the last year and a half, they've cashed out a whopping $53.3 billion in U.S. treasuries and agency bonds. That's not just a drop in the bucket, it's the biggest sell-off ever recorded.
China sold a record amount of stocks, $5.1 billion in the month of August. That, again, is a record.
Why does this matter? Well, it's all part of a bigger game plan to shake up the U.S. dollar's reign over international trade. Think of the U.S. dollar like the star quarterback of the world economy. Everyone wants him on their team because he's reliable and makes plays that benefit everyone involved. By pulling their money out, China isn't just making a financial decision. They're throwing a challenge flag on the field. They're signaling to the world that they're ready to back a new player, potentially their own currency, to lead the economic game. This strategic pullback is a serious game changer. It's not just about numbers on a balance sheet. It's about influencing which currency the world trusts and trades in. This move could lead other countries to rethink their own strategies, which could lead to less stability in international markets. As we dive deeper into what this means, think about how a shift away from the dollar could affect everything from the price of your morning coffee to the stability of economies around the world. Now, let's shift our focus to something shiny: gold. In this high-stakes game of global finance, gold isn't just a pretty metal, it's a power move. While tensions bubble up in the economic world, Russia and China are making some savvy changes to their playbooks. They're loading up on gold, and it's not just to make their reserves look good. Gold is like the Swiss Army knife of assets: trusted, reliable, and most importantly, neutral. It doesn't belong to any one country's economy, which makes it a superstar in times of uncertainty. Why are they stockpiling gold? It's a strategic shield. By boosting their gold reserves, Russia and China are building a buffer against potential economic blows, like sanctions from other countries. It's like they're padding their walls against economic storms, ensuring they can stand strong even if things get rough internationally. This move is also about carving out a path to financial independence. By relying more on gold and less on the U.S. dollar, they're trying to lessen the grip the U.S. has on global trade and economic influence. This gold strategy is a crucial part of their plan to not just survive, but thrive, regardless of the economic pressures that come from political disagreements. It's a bold statement of self-reliance and a sign that they're not just playing the game, They're trying to set new rules. As we delve deeper, think about how this gold rush might influence global economics, potentially leading to shifts in power that could affect nations big and small. Next, let's talk vision. Specifically, the vision China and Russia are setting for what they call a multipolar world. This isn't just about power plays and gold. It's about fundamentally changing the way the world works. Imagine a classroom where only one student gets to make all the rules. Now, imagine if suddenly every student had an equal say. That's the kind of shift we're talking about here. China and Russia are looking beyond just themselves. They're considering the bigger picture that includes emerging markets and developing countries, which make up 88% of the world's population. Their argument? The current rules-based order, led by the US, isn't fair play. It's like a game where the rules are written so only some can win.
President Trump imposed pretty hefty tariff duties and other restrictions on Chinese imports, claiming that for many, many years, China had treated U.S. businesses unfairly.
They're calling for a new system, one that respects each country's right to decide how they govern and manage their economies, much like saying every country should get to choose the rules of the game in their own backyard. This proposal is a stark contrast to the US's approach and signifies a desire not just to change who's in charge, but to overhaul the entire system. It's a rallying cry for a world where power is more evenly distributed, a world where nations big and small have a seat at the table and a voice in the decisions that affect them. Now, let's turn the page to another critical aspect of Russia and China's partnership: their military and economic ties. Think of them as teammates in a sports league who are not only planning strategies, but also hitting the gym together to build muscle. Militarily, they're ramping up their game by planning more joint exercises and patrols. This isn't just about showing off their strength. It's a clear message that they're in sync and serious about defending their interests together. It's like having a workout buddy who not only spots you but also pushes you to lift heavier and go further. On the economic front, they're tweaking their playbook too. They're moving away from paying each other in US dollars and starting to use their own currencies. It's like two friends deciding to stop using a popular app for payments and instead start using their own made-up system that works just for them. This shift could reduce their dependency on the dollar and give their currencies a leg up in international trade. Additionally, they're boosting ties in key areas like civil aviation, energy, and advanced technologies. This isn't just about making money. It's about weaving their economies so tightly together that they can stand strong against economic pressures from other countries. These moves are strategic. By strengthening both military and economic bonds, Russia and China are not just protecting their backyard. They're building a fortress that supports their broader goals on the global stage. Next, we're examining how Russia and China are using their seats at the big tables of international organizations to press play on their strategic plans. Think of these global institutions like the UN and BRICS as the world's most influential clubs. Being a member of these clubs means you get a say in the big decisions, and that's exactly what these two countries are capitalizing on. They're not just attending meetings to listen. They're actively pushing for changes that align with their vision of a new world order. It's like being part of a neighborhood council and using your influence to change the community rules to better suit your street. By advocating for policies that reflect their interests, they're working to shift the foundations of global governance. This isn't just about making noise. It's about changing the scorecard so that the game is played differently. Their involvement in these organizations is crucial because it allows them to mold the debate and influence decisions on an international scale. This could mean new norms for how countries interact, how conflicts are resolved, and how economic policies are shaped. It's a powerful position to be in, and they're certainly making the most of it.
Now, it's bad for American consumers, but it's also bad for American businesses.
Now, as we wrap up today's journey through the unfolding story of global power shifts, it's clear that the actions of China and Russia are not just ripples in the water. They're potential tidal waves reshaping the landscape of international relations. Through strategic alliances, economic maneuvers, and their assertive presence in global forums, these two nations are challenging the status quo, aiming to redraw the lines that have long defined the world order. The implications of this are vast and varied. From economic stability to military alignments, the moves made by these countries could profoundly impact how nations interact, cooperate, and confront each other on the global stage. It's a story that affects us all, from policymakers in high offices to citizens watching the global economy and international news at home. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor these developments. The game is changing, and the stakes couldn't be higher. As China and Russia carve out new paths, the question for the rest of the world is how to respond to this emerging multipolar landscape. Will it lead to more conflict? Or could it pave the way for a new type of global cooperation? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, we'll be here to follow every twist and turn. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And to watch the latest geopolitical news, watch this video here.